There's this ancient wisdom, really, a parable about a fundamental human mistake, one that feels incredibly relevant today.
Ah, you mean the story of the person who wants to build a tower.
Exactly. They have this grand vision, they're passionate, they even lay the foundation, but they forget the crucial first step.
They don't first sit down to calculate the cost. And the result, as P.G. Sebastian really brings home in his article, The Unfinished Tower, well, it's this quiet tragedy, isn't it?
A half-built life, an unfinished tower standing there, basically a monument to miscalculation.
And P.G. points out this story from Luke, it was never really about buildings. It's always been about commitment and the immense cost we often underestimate.
And is there any commitment more, let's say, architecturally complex or more likely to crumble from uncalculated costs than the shared life people try to build in marriage?
Probably not. It's a huge undertaking.
So we're continuing our deep dive mini-series, Counting the Cost. Today, we're zeroing in on relational integration and household life.
Right, and this is really drawing from the heart of P.G. Sebastian's Steps to Forever Ecosystem. The whole vision there is about being the leading thought on relationships in marriage.
Taking those complex insights and making them accessible, practical.
Exactly. So today, we have to ask that, well, that slightly uncomfortable but totally necessary question.
Why do so many couples eagerly show up for the wedding, the big groundbreaking ceremony, but then seem to fail when it comes to the actual, often grueling day-to-day construction work?
Well, Sebastian's take is pretty clear. We fundamentally mistake the blueprint of romance for the real structural engineering plan.
We think love alone will just build the tower.
Yeah, we assume it's enough. And the first point of failure, it's psychological. It's like the ground we're building on is faulty from the start.
What's fascinating and maybe a little unsettling is how common this self-deception is when it comes to love.
Totally. And the main psychological issue PG flags is this really powerful thing called optimism bias.
Okay, what's that?
It's that pervasive little lie we tell ourselves. Sure, maybe half of marriages fail, but ours will be different. We'll be the exception.
But don't you almost need a bit of that? I mean, if you truly tallied up all the potential future exhaustion, the arguments, the financial stress, would anyone actually sign up? Doesn't that little bit of delusion kind of help?
Ah, but see, that's the exact trap PG warns about. That delusion lets you skip the hard part, the actual assessment.
It makes talking about money or chores or who does what feel, I don't know, unromantic, maybe even a bit cynical.
Precisely. And that leads us right into the second psychological pitfall, the effective forecasting error.
Effective forecasting error. Okay, break that down.
It basically means we're terrible predictors of our future feelings. We massively overestimate how long our current bliss, that amazing honeymoon feeling, will last.
And at the same time?
And at the same time, we completely underestimate how things like future conflict or just sheer exhaustion and stress are going to impact us 5, 10 years down the line.
So those little habits your partner has that seem cute now.
Yeah, those charming little quirks. Give it a decade, Sebastian suggests, and they might feel less like quirks and more like a deliberate campaign designed purely to annoy you.
Okay, so here's where it gets really personal for you listening. The next big term PG Sebastian brings up is entitlement.
This one's deep.
It's this idea that we don't just walk into a marriage with our partner. We also bring this whole suitcase full of unconscious expectations about what a home is, what a partner should do.
Yeah, the article calls them the ghosts of our own upbringings, which is such a vivid way to put it.
It really is.
Think about it. Maybe a man unconsciously expects his home to run like the one his mother managed, without ever having seen or acknowledged the invisible work that went into it.
Or a woman expects her partner to be the main breadwinner and somehow also be a completely equal, hands-on co-manager of everything domestic.
And these aren't necessarily bad intentions, right?
Yeah.
They're just unvoiced assumptions, beliefs about what we feel we're entitled to get from the partnership.
And PG Sebastian makes this really sharp point. When that unspoken contract inevitably gets broken because the other person never even knew it existed, the feeling isn't just disappointment.
No, it feels like a profound injustice, like your partner deliberately broke a promise they never actually made.
Which is a recipe for conflict.
Absolutely. And when that feeling hits, what do? We often fall back on defense mechanisms, things like projection and denial.
It's just easier, isn't it? Easier to say he's lazy or she's nagging.
Then to confront the tougher reality.
Right.
We failed. We failed to sit down and actually create a shared, clear definition of what effort or contribution even means in our specific relationship.
Okay, so we've got this internal psychological landscape that's maybe a bit shaky, but it doesn't exist on its own, right? There's a bigger context.
Exactly. What's the external climate, the sociological weather, that makes building this tower so much harder today compared to, say, 50 or 100 years ago?
Well, Sebastian points to a massive historical shift. Marriage used to be primarily a pragmatic arrangement. Economic, social.
Love was nice if you got it, but it wasn't the main requirement. It was a welcome but non-essential bonus, as he puts it.
And now
Now we've completely flipped it. The modern era has inverted that whole equation.
we've put this enormous, almost impossible weight entirely on romantic love itself.
Right. P.G. Sebastian references the work of sociologist Eli Finkel here, talking about the all-or-nothing marriage.
All or nothing, meaning
Meaning we now expect, even demand, that our one partner fulfill almost every role. Best friend, amazing lover, co-parent, intellectual sparring partner, therapist, financial planner.
wow, that's a lot to ask of one person.
It's unprecedented pressure on a single relationship to meet basically all our fundamental human needs for connection, support, and growth.
And at the same time, PG notes, while we've become experts in our careers and specialize in so many areas, we've somehow managed to de-skill the actual art of living together, of cohabitation.
Yeah, the support structures that used to exist, the village, the close-knit community, the readily available extended family, they've largely faded for many people.
Leaving just two people, isolated in their home, expected to somehow manage everything themselves.
And then you layer on the economic shifts. The dual-income household wasn't just a choice for many, it became an economic necessity.
But the cultural rules about who does what at home didn't really catch up, did they?
Not nearly fast enough. P.G. Sebastian talks directly about the second shift. Women moved into the workforce in huge numbers, which was a massive change.
Yet, the expectation often lingered, unspoken or not, that they'd still be the primary ones responsible for the home, for the kids, for the invisible management.
And that mismatch creates this potent, often silent buildup of resentment over years. It's the source of so much marital strife.
So couples end up arguing about who forgot to buy milk.
When they're actually arguing about years, maybe a lifetime, of feeling the scales are unbalanced, feeling unseen, feeling like they're fighting against these outdated gender roles that the system still subtly reinforces.
Yeah, the system often punishes people who try to deviate, doesn't it? Like the stay-at-home dad facing judgment, or the woman who out-earns her partner.
Exactly. So couples are often battling not just each other's assumptions, but centuries of social programming, and usually without any kind of map or guide.
And this failure to really count the cost of integrating two lives, it shows up in very real, tangible ways, not just money, but
Right. PG identifies three crucial non-monetary currencies where the cost becomes brutally clear: time, energy, and forfeited potential.
okay, let's break those down, like line items in this unwritten budget. First up, the seemingly simple one, shared space.
This is so much more than just agreeing on paint colors. It's the daily, constant negotiation of life together.
Cleanliness standards, clutter tolerance, how much quiet time each person needs.
Every little disagreement about where the shoes go or whose turn it is to clean the bathroom, PG says each one is like a small withdrawal from your shared emotional bank account.
And over years, those constant small withdrawals.
They can lead to emotional bankruptcy. The relationship just runs out of goodwill.
Okay, so space is one cost. What's next?
Perhaps the most insidious one: invisible labor, sometimes called cognitive load.
Ah, yes. This is huge.
This is all the behind-the-scenes mental work. It's not just doing the task you were asked to do. It's being the person who anticipates the need before it arises.
Like remembering milk runs low on Tuesdays, knowing the pediatrician's number offhand, keeping track of the family social calendar, noticing when a child seems emotionally off.
All that tracking, planning, worrying, remembering, it's relentless. And it's work. Cognitive and emotional work.
And the real kicker is its invisibility, right? It's rarely logged, rarely acknowledged as actual labor.
Which is why it's so toxic. It drains colossal amounts of mental bandwidth, often from one partner disproportionately, without any recognition or shared burden.
Which leads us straight to the third cost.
The opportunity cost. And P.G. Sebastian argues this might be the most profound, the most tragic cost of all.
What does he mean by that?
It's everything that didn't happen because all that mental energy, all that time was consumed by just managing the household, keeping the wheels turning.
It's the book that never got written.
Or the promotion someone didn't have the bandwidth to go for, the startup idea that fizzled out, the
Right.
degree that got postponed indefinitely. It's the cost of potential left unrealized because the daily grind of managing a shared life just took everything.
Wow. It's sobering. And speaking of costs, let's just pause on this little gem from the materials for a second. A bit of a witty aside, maybe.
Go for it.
Marriage is the most significant financial contract most people will ever sign, yet it's the one we enter into with the least due diligence.
Isn't that staggering when you think about it? We'll research a new phone for weeks, compare specs on a car.
Analyze warranties, read reviews.
Right. But then we'll merge finances,
Yeah.
plan for decades of shared expenses with maybe one awkward conversation, if that. It's wild.
And PG points out it's not even just about the dollars and cents, it's about what the money represents.
Exactly. A fight about saving versus spending. It's often a proxy war. It's about control, about trust, about fundamentally different visions for the future.
So that financial transparency he talks about, it's not just a nice to have, it's structurally critical.
Absolutely crucial, like the steel beams in that tower.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the final massive category of cost, health and reproduction,
Oh, the in sickness and in health part.
which sounds lovely in the vows, but when you're young and healthy, it's almost impossible to truly grasp the weight of it.
The cost isn't theoretical then. It's shouldering a difficult diagnosis together. It's navigating the complexities of caregiving.
It's dealing with infertility, making heartbreaking decisions about children, or facing chronic illness. These are monumental life events.
And the point is, these aren't things to figure out only when crisis hits. They need to be part of that initial cost calculation, that upfront conversation.
Yes, because hoping for the best isn't a plan.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem, the hidden costs, the psychological and social factors. It can feel a bit overwhelming. If the reckoning, the realization of these costs often comes too late, what's the way forward?
How do we shift love from just being a feeling we hope sustains us into what PG calls an active architectural verb?
Right. How do we actually build something lasting?
The solution proposed in the Step to Forever materials is the relational blueprint.
Okay, a blueprint. Tell us more.
Think of it not like a prenuptial agreement focused on dividing assets if things go wrong,
Yeah.
but as a co-created charter. A living, breathing document for the life you actually intend to build together.
So it's proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. And it requires, frankly, humility. It requires the courage to be truly vulnerable and to see your partner not just as a romantic interest, but as your fellow architect in this massive project.
Okay, let's get practical. What are the key components of this relational blueprint?
Hmm.
What conversations should people, maybe even you listening right now, start having?
PG lays out 5 critical areas. First, physical space.
Back to the home environment.
Yes. Define what home actually means to each of you.
Mm.
What's your real tolerance for clutter versus tidiness? How do you signal you need alone time without it feeling like rejection?
And the key shift he suggests is moving away from accusation
Like, you're so messy.
and towards curiosity.
Towards saying, help me understand what a relaxing space feels like to you. That small shift changes the whole conversation dynamic.
Okay, that's space. What's number 2?
The audit of labor. And this is crucial. You have to map out everything, all the tasks.
Especially that invisible cognitive labor we talked about.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Who tracks the bills? Who remembers birthdays and sends cards? Who schedules car maintenance? Who manages the mental load of the kids' school communication?
Get it all out on the table.
The goal isn't necessarily a strict 50-50 split on every single task, because people have different strengths and capacities. The goal is equitable distribution, something that feels fair and sustainable to both partners.
And this isn't a one-time conversation.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
PG emphasizes this needs regular revisiting, like a calm, strategic State of the Union meeting for your relationship where you check in on how the system is working.
Makes sense. Third component.
Financial architecture, we touched on this, but it means total transparency. No hidden debts, clear understanding of income, and really digging into your philosophies. Are you a saver? Or are they a spender? How will you navigate that?
And talking through the scary what-ifs.
Yes. What if one of us loses a job? How will we handle requests for money from family? What are our long-term financial goals? Building this shared financial structure creates incredible trust. It's a kind of intimacy that romantic gestures alone can't achieve.
Okay, fourth.
Health, family, and legacy. This covers the big stuff. Child-rearing philosophies, even if kids aren't immediate, talk about the principles, plans for navigating potential infertility, setting clear, united boundaries with extended family.
And the really tough but vital conversations.
End-of-life care wishes, healthcare proxies, living wills. P.G. Sebastian really stresses that having these conversations before a crisis is an act of profound love and care, protecting your partner from having to make impossible decisions alone under duress.
That's powerful. Okay, the fifth and final piece of the blueprint.
The social contract. This is about how you operate as a team out in the world.
How you present yourselves as a unit.
Yeah. How will you handle disagreements when you're with friends or family? What are your shared boundaries about sharing private relationship details with others? How do you support each other publicly?
So it's about creating that unified front.
Exactly. It provides a buffer against external stresses and reinforces your partnership identity.
So this whole process, actually sitting down, having these 5 conversations, writing things down, revisiting it, that's the work.
That is the work.
Yeah.
It's the unglamorous, uncinematic, behind-the-scenes labor that's required if you want to build that power, that shared life, so it actually lasts.
It really comes down to that core message, doesn't it? Failure and commitment in marriage, it rarely stems from a simple lack of love.
Much more often, PG argues, it comes from a fundamental failure to plan. A refusal, conscious or not, to actually count the costs beforehand.
So the call to action is clear. Be a wiser builder.
Sit down. Start the conversation, even if it feels awkward. Ask the hard questions. Do the math emotionally and practically.
We've really dug into the often unseen costs of relational integration and building a household today. We've seen how failure can come from using the wrong blueprint, essentially, and just refusing to plan properly.
We really encourage you to dive deeper into PG Sebastian's insights on this. You can find the full article, The Unfinished Tower, Counting the Cost of a Shared Life, and so much more within the Steps to Forever materials online through his Substack or the blog on pgsebastian.com.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive, whether we're your work companion or helping pass the time on your drive. We hope these insights give you something valuable to think about.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear from you. Share what stood out from today's discussion. Maybe which part of that relational blueprint are you thinking about starting with, perhaps even tonight?
And please do subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next part of our Counting the Cost miniseries.
We appreciate you listening and being part of this conversation. We'll be back soon with more Steps to Forever.